Welcome to House Call Episode 6. I'm Shell Robinson, and tonight I have with me two of my fellow Birdhouse Bootcamp production partners. I have Nervako and Dov with me tonight, so we're going to have a special episode with two producers, and they've actually recently been working on a collaboration that was just released, so we'll get to more of that later. But welcome, Dov and Nervako.
How's it going? Hello.
Nice to see you. So I think to kick this off, why don't you both kind of share, and we can start with Nervako, your start of house music and your journey. What was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was an accidental part when I listened to the house music. I was actually like getting ready for school, and normally we will leave the TV on in the morning, because everybody's getting ready for work, everybody's getting ready to head out, and so we always have like music in the background playing, and we ended up having like MTV playing at that time. And when we were getting ready, that's where I ended up stumbling on like artists like Stardust, like DJ Sammy, and like Daft Punk that were playing on there. So it was like my moment where I discovered the music from the house scene.
Daft Punk drew a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people in. It was revolutionary at the time.
Yeah, as a kid, I saw them and I was like, "Whoa, that's awesome!" And it's like the animated, like one more time, and they also had like harder, better, faster,
Oh
stronger
yeah, oh yeah.
around the world.
I remember when they started getting into commercials back then too. It got prominent. How about you, Deb? What was your start with house music?
Well, it was back in high school. I came to one of my music classes. It's it's 1998, and one of my friends introduced me to like trance kind of scene, and you remember that artist ATB,
Oh,
9 p.m. till I come.
oh yeah.
So he put it, and that's the new album came out called Moving Melodies, I believe. And then he puts this melody, and he's like, and I'm listening, and I'm like, wow, this is new because I originally just a kid who came foreign, never heard anything like that, and new to the school, just came into the high school, and it was amazing to hear those beats. And I'm like, I think I want to create something similar. And then as I got older, clubs starting appearing in my ears, and everybody's like, "Okay, we're a team now." And then you see all this other kids who are like seniors, and they come up and they're like, "We went to Twilight, we went to Exit, we went to Spirit and Avalon," and I'm like, "Whoa!" And I want to know, I want to go, and they're like, "Well, are you in team? We have to wake up at 3 a.m. at 2 a.m. to be there at 3 a.m. and after hours will start at 4 a.m." And then there was this club called Vinyl, and Denny Teneglia was their resident, and Denny Howells. And it was like, okay, I never heard of them. I never knew. And I'm standing in the middle. We just came in. We paid $20 back then for the entry.
That was a lot.
And I,
Yeah, a lot then. Yeah.
and I stand in the middle of the dance floor, and this beat comes on, called Black Water. And the main melody just open your heart, just open your soul, and let it like all flow like a sunshine. And that's when it hit me. This is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to introduce myself as an artist. And then I started going to school and saving money for my first synthesizer, which was Quark Triton. And I was like a dishwasher at the pizzeria.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's how it's all started.
So Dov, you were heavily in the New York, Manhattan club scene and kind of that late '90s, early 2000s for you. Danny
Yes.
Tenaglia, those kinds of stories. Kevin, for you with Daft Punk, where did it evolve for you after you had those early moments on MTV? What happened for you next?
Well, one thing's for sure, I was way too young to be in the in the clubs for sure. But like from discovering the house music from MTV, down the road I started looking up on YouTube. And this was like back then, YouTube was like the blocky kind of YouTube with like, from like the 2000s. And I started discovering different artists like from like techno and then from like psytrance and then goa trance. So like I started going on this journey, discovering like a lot of different genres from house music and then down the road, like all these different artists down the road.
That's
And
awesome.
then from there, like I started seeing like Tiesto and I started seeing like ATB. I started seeing the Daft Punk and like his earlier stuff down the road. And I'm whoa, this is like definitely something different. It's not like hip hop. It's not like rock music. And like for me, I'm a huge like sci-fi person. So like seeing this and hearing this was like a whole different world to me. So I was like, yeah, like from there it started to blossom onto other things down there.
That's awesome. It's funny. I think we all have those defining moments, and then you start to dig in. Um, Dove, where did you kind of find your first music when you started to really get into it and started seeing Danny Teneglia? Where did you go dig in for music? Where was it for you?
Napster.
Napster. Oh yeah. And Kevin Nervako, how about you? Where would you dig?
In terms about like where to find music and all that sorts, for me, my biggest source was YouTube for sure. And
YouTube,
then
yeah.
I also looked into like the MySpace when they had like different like playlists on the section. So from there, I started seeing a lot of like techno, and then after that, then either MySpace or YouTube.
I remember MySpace being really big in music,
Oh, it was.
especially underground music. I used to go every city I would travel to, whether work or personal, I would go find a record shop and go digging for it. And then there was an online store called htfr.com in Europe, hardtofindrecords.com, and I started buying vinyl, and you couldn't even listen to it online. You had to like just hope, you recognize the name and then hope that the record was good when it finally came in the mail. So um, glad times have changed and things have gotten more accessible. So for both of you, prior to joining Jay Bird's boot camp, when did you both have your aha moments about producing and kind of that you wanted to get into producing? Let's start with you, Kevin.
Yeah, when I started, so like when I discovered the music from like in the early 2000s, I got introduced to like the DJing section from a friend of mine, and it was nothing big, and of course it was just like they were throwing a kind of like a party for the middle school students, and so I decided to kind of join in there. And like from then on, I felt like the firsthand experience on like, playing the music and being able to do that. And during the time when I was seeing like YouTube videos on like different DJs playing in massive like stages and like those kind of events, it like really clicked to me. I'm like, I definitely want to do like something like this down the road, but like I never knew like the whole production side. And so down the road, as soon as I graduated from like high school, that's when I decided to buy my first like DAW, which was like not Pro Tools, what am I saying? It was Fruity Loops.
Oh
I
yeah.
went to Fry's. They had like the box, the physical copy thing, and so I went down there. It was like $100, and from there I started to dabble with it down the road. But like it was that's where I ended up finding the inspiration from that experience.
That's a good story. And Dove, for you, you saw Danny Teneglia in New York. You bought a Korg synthesizer. Then what happened for you? What did you do next?
And then I started to figure it out now. How do I put it all together? How do I put the sounds in from the speakers into a recording? How do I record it? And then I started cutting school. I started going to Sam Ash and
Yes,
questioning
the
in
School of Sam
Manhattan.
Ash. Yes.
Yeah, I started going to Sam Ash and talking to the staff, like, what do I need to buy? How do I use this? And back then, a sound card even sounded like $300 back in the late 90s and early 2000s. For a 17, 18-year-old, it was $1 million.
Oh,
So
totally. So unaccessible, right? When you're trying to. every penny for gas in your car or you know,
Yes,
a
yes.
McDonald's meal. Yeah, totally.
And I try to figure out what sound card, what is sound card, how do you use it? So I became a pro in using a PC. So I found a friend who knew a friend who knows how to build a PC, and then we learned how to build one. And then we built one, and I still actually still have that PC.
Wow.
And we
Hey,
built it, we put sound card in there. We together we kind of like grew up together. We're still friends, and our children even friends on Facebook.
That's awesome.
So I then we bought something called Steinberg. And then I'm like, what's Steinberg? And then it says Q, it's a big Q. And I'm like, Q, and then what's a Q? And then I opened the box and it says Cubase 5. And then it says, we read the box and it says it's a sequencer where you could record. And then I bought a sound card. It was Echo something, Gina Echo 2012, something like that. We bought that and then we struggled with putting the sound into there. So again, we don't know. I didn't know how to use PC systems. We
Yeah.
never used Cubase before, so it was a struggle of learning by yourself and sitting down like I'm Russian by myself and English is my second language. I opened up the translate. Back then there was no Google.
No.
You
oh,
open up a book and you translate the words that you don't understand.
Yeah. It was a mystery. I think I bought Reason like 17 years ago and gave up, right? There was no, I at the time I didn't know of any boot camps or, unless you could go to engineering school, it was very inaccessible and or you had
Oh yes.
someone to show you the way. Now, did either of you have someone that really kind of mentored you and showed you the way? Either of you or you both either any stories you want to tell with that, Kevin or Eugene?
yeah, definitely. So I ended up going, I didn't have no one that really taught me how to do production. I honestly just started looking up at like stuff on YouTube, and it was very difficult because there's like different perspectives and different opinions, and you would listen to the tutorial and how it goes for, at that time for me it was Fruity Loops. And I would listen to another video and it would be like the total opposite, like it has to be in a different way. And I'm like, wait, this is confusing. And so
Yeah.
down the road, I decided to go to school for music production, and it was definitely fun for sure. Like they had like all of the software, they had like the whole equipment there. And to me, seeing that, because I always saw that like on, music videos, or I saw that in like other, musicians being inside the studio. And so my first experience stepping in that was like, oh my God, it's a spaceship, seeing inside everything there. But like, yeah, I had definitely went to school to get a little mentorship on the whole production side, because yeah, down the road for me, like it was like, yeah, it's just like a lot of information to like kind of get down at first. Yeah, I had experience from college, and then my takeaway from that from being there was, understanding some fundamentals from like how to work the software from Pro Tools, and also I started using Ableton. So from FL Studio to now becoming from Pro Tools and then Ableton, and then realizing that Ableton became kind of like my main source for like music production. And so I was there like less than a year. I had to drop out due to financial hardships. And it was very difficult, for me to separate from that because it was like something that I was like fully, all in, but I wasn't able to catch up with like my payments, and I had to step away, and actually I had to take a break from music in general to kind of recover from that. And this happened from like 2018, like somewhere around like, I think during the summer around there. So, but, I took a break from there, and then I reached out to like different communities on social media. So from like Facebook pages, and then like, obviously Instagram. And then I ran into this group called Neon Owl, and it's not the first time I heard them. I've actually got the chance to see them back in 2000, I would like to say 16 around there. So, but it was like very brief. But my experience there was pretty awesome. They were like doing, they were hosting a demo party, and so they're doing one again over in Berkeley, which is like further up from Oakland. And so I went to go check it out. And, obviously the environment was super cool. There was a lot of different artists that were, locally there that were there to showcase their talent, their music, and, just also like network as well, within productions and, just clicking in and stuff like that. And so at that time around, um, due to the time for me to network, I got the chance to have, some shows in San Jose. And they weren't very big. They were just like, going to a venue downtown San Jose and got the chance to spin, which is pretty cool. And right around like this was like around 2019 time. And I was definitely picking up momentum. And then down the road, the pandemic hit, which pretty much was a huge devastating, event. And obviously a lot of businesses had to close down. A lot of venues definitely had to stop. So for a lot of reasons, like, it was a very uncertain time. So we definitely, all of us definitely gone through it. And I was definitely bummed out, when, I was like picking up all this momentum and the fact that this happened, it was kind of a hit for sure. But down the road they were doing, or Neil now was hosting the demo sessions event onto Zoom, and I got the chance to check them out again, and jumped on one of their calls. And at that time, they had like different panelists, and these panelists like were like either DJs, producers, or radio hosts as well, kind of like giving tips and advice for young musicians, aspiring producers are coming up. And at that time, I remember seeing Jason, aka Jay Bird, from the Birdhouse, and he was obviously showcasing his knowledge about Spotify, and as well as reaching out to also helping producers as well as coaching them on finishing like a song, especially for like someone who doesn't, like for me, like I definitely didn't finish my songs at all. I was definitely one of those folks that would have one section piece uh just done, and then would be like on the rack collecting dust, and for God knows when it'll be, finished up again. So he really helped out a lot with like my process and how to produce a song from like point A to point Z, meaning like how to mix, how to master, how to do the arrangements for the song. And then like smaller details on like how to saturate, how to compress and stuff like that. So it was super, super helpful. And this kind of gave me my spark back again because, from dropping out of college and to like, not be back up there again or not even able to afford it, was definitely a blow. But getting a chance to, reignite that again within the community was a huge plus. And so by the way, shout out to the Birdhouse and shout out to Neonel for, all the awesome things you guys are doing. And on top of that, the community is super amazing. I think it's one of the things is like you're producing, and now you get the chance to meet other folks that are, in the same boat, because you have conversations with these, and like you try to have conversations with your family, right, at a Thanksgiving dinner, like, hey guys, I produced a song, and this is what I did, and then they'll be like, oh, that's okay, that's nice. Help me with the dishes real quick, But so it's just like being able to click amongst other producers and artists, you have that connection. And so I think on top of like learning production and music, you also grow as an artist and your network as well, getting the chance to meet more folks. And so those are definitely big keys that I've got out, taken out from learning how to produce music, and as well as learning how to network and how to reach out to folks as well. And just also in general, checking it out. I had to pause for a sec. I thought my cat was jumping on. Okay, let's see. I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say. Let's see. I'm thinking what else. I think I pretty much added, some of the I wanted to make sure that I acknowledged the Birdhouse, and I wanted to acknowledge Neon Owl as well. But I think that's it for now. Thank you, by the way, for doing this, Shelley. Have a good night, and I'll let you do your thing. So have a good one. Bye bye.
That's really good advice. How about you, Dev?
For me, it was either you read or you don't know. You open the book and you read. You download tutorials from the website that Reason or Cubase website because the YouTube wasn't evolved as it is now. And it was kind of I was on my own. I had a friend who knew computers, and me and him would sit down. He was my wingman on the computer side, where to connect or how to use software. And I learned by clicking the buttons or, okay, now if you want the beat to be like 4 quarters, you have to put it on the pattern. I had those in
Pattern,
between.
math, pattern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
And the manuals are very technical, not creative in nature. So I think there's the creative aspect of creating, and then there's the technical aspect of creating, and they're both very different.
Well, as the program evolved, it became more easier to use, and I just stick with it. And I still learning how to use it, but I learned to the professional level where, okay, I'm gonna do the production side, but I still don't know how to use it in like to do mix down or mastering, for which I have my record label to do for me, and still
I'm
would
learning that that is its own specialization for sure. So for both of you, and Dov, we can keep talking to you first. Who are your influences that you're like, I want to make music, and this producer is Nails? Do you have a? I'm sure you probably have a list, but who is that for you? Who's your inspiration?
Danny Howells, of
Danny
course.
Howe. Oh yeah, he has new stuff out.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
already heard it.
Yeah, good stuff. So Danny Howells for you. Anyone else?
For me, oh, it was it
Go ahead.
for
No, go ahead, Kevin. Go
oh,
ahead.
okay. It was down the road discovering like the some of the musicians from like YouTube. I found a artist that was like, that I found very inspiring, and it was Hardwell.
Oh
Seeing a
yeah.
lot of seeing a lot of his background story, how he started like at a young age, and he had the support of his parents when he was going to like different venues. It was like really inspiring because it like shows a lot of his story and like a lot of his upbringing.
Yeah.
And I felt like a pretty like relatable. I was like, yeah, man, this is like something that is totally possible. Like you can totally do this. And like, nowadays, like he's going wild in like a lot of the Hardwell events, Ultra,
Oh yeah.
like those big events.
Yeah, those are big
Yeah.
ones. Well, on that note, I thought we could kind of move into your current state. And really, you both decided to work on a collaboration. So I thought we could kind of start about Dove, the song that you wrote. And then if you want to share any of your creative process in that. And then Kevin Nervako, we can go into your choice of going into the remix, which I heard it's doing well on Beatport right now. So congrats to both of you. I just downloaded it actually. So
Thank you, thank
Hey,
you.
appreciate you. That's awesome.
yeah. So Deb, do you want to start with what is the name of the song that you wrote?
So it basically started out as just tribal beat because I love New York, and New York associates with Danny Teneglia a lot for me in my life because I went every Friday night after work. I went to vinyl, and this was my kind of journey of listening to tribal and house music through Danny and Danny House. Those main characters were residents in that club. So I found a nice kick, uh, and then tom-toms, and then I started just evolving it into something that I didn't even know that it's going to work out into it. And it reminded me like New York style. And like me being in the military, I miss New York. And while I was doing it, I was thinking about New York. This is all New York. I'm representing New York. I'm from New York. So I'm like, okay, this is something going to be Miss New York.
It really comes through in the song too, and I'll put the link to your song and the remix as well. And so Kevin, what made you decide to remix it? How did this happen between the two of you?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, so like one of the things is he showed me the original and I was listening to it and I was like, dude, this is super awesome. And then he came up with like saying we definitely have to do like a crossover from like a progressive and then like the house version of his to like a deep progressive. And so we broke apart from like the melodies that he worked on, the instruments, and from there we came up about with adding like more of the kind of like the trancy, punchy kind of vibe to it. And yeah, we're just going back and forth in the emails, and we're just like, we're like reading it out, checking it out, going back and forth, like, hey, is this like kick pretty good, or if like the instruments are coming out clean? And from there, we were just like working from there. But like, yeah, like the original was like super awesome, and I was like, man, this would be an awesome idea to also add this into like a progressive down the road too.
It works. It's one has the nostalgia, which is evoking, Dove, what you said. You miss New York. You miss those. I think those simplistic. I hate using the word simplistic, but it was a simplistic
This
time
was
in the idealistic time of progressive in the early days, and then Kevin, you came in and added that dark current progressive to it as well. It's really both of them are really good. They're both different. And again, we'll put that into the link of the podcast below for Beatport. On that note, I thought we could move into kind of what your current work is for both of you and what you're currently working on. Do both of you have something you want to kind of show and share today on the call? Is this a good time to kind of move into that?
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Let's see. I can start it off. It's just like an audio. It's not I'm not going to show it on the Ableton process. I mentioned that
Yeah.
my CPU is not the best here, so
Oh, you're just fine.
yeah. Let me go ahead and share this up real quick. Sure. Stereo. Okay. I think let's see this one right here. And so a quick backstory for this one.
Mhm.
I was working on just the melody sections, and it was just like a rough idea for like melodies. This was during a time when I was still recovering from the flood over in Salinas, which is kind of a long story, but um, I was kind of working on this, just because I had something in my mind that I was like tuning into, and so I kind of wrote it down, and then I came back to again just recently, just trying to finish the whole section. So I'll go ahead and play it here for you guys. Hopefully, you guys can hear it.
Let yourself be free. Don't be afraid of the void. will find that we are all one. In this vastness of space, love is sequential. We are all connected to this vibrational energy. Just like all things in this universe. So let go of the past. Be in the moment. And embrace the future.
Trancy and Dancy.
Nice. Nice.
So how did you pick Nervako as your name that you go by?
It was definitely not the first one for sure. There was a couple of aliases that I went under by, and originally the first one was DJ Wex, and that was inspired from a PlayStation 1 game called Wild 9, and the main character, his name was Wex, and so I decided to combine the name on there. However, I noticed that like if you look up for like, DJ Wex online, there's like a whole like different DJs under the same alias. And I was trying to find something that would stand out. And so first it was DJ Wex, and then it was DJ Dynasty, and pretty much about the familiar thing. There was a lot of different, aliases that were about the same.
Yeah.
And I was trying to go for something that was kind of unique that I was able to brand on. And so I just started to play with my name from Kevin, flipped it backwards, and it would be Nevek.
Ah,
And then I looked it up, and still there was names under the same, same name. So I just started messing around with the words at this point, from Nevek to Nervak, Nervako, and so
yeah.
that's where I decided to kind of glue those things together. But I went from a couple like different like names.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing that song. I'll look forward to hearing when it gets signed. And I think you got a good one going there. How about you, Dov?
Thank you.
How did you pick your name, Dov?
Oh, it's a funny story. When I went to basic trading, and my last name originally is Mulokandov, and drill sergeants looked at me and like, we're gonna create a nickname for you.
Oh, yeah,
Because
no one can say it.
So it went from, well, I had to earn it too, because nothing is given, everything is earned in the army. So I had the privilege to basically give it being given my nickname. First, it was Alphabet because most of the letters in my last name, and after that it was Mulo. And as I progressed in the ranks and basically throughout basic training, I earned Dove. I remember Senior Joseon, her name was Senior Joseon Howells. She looked at me and she was like, you better go out today with your weapons training. And I'm like, yes, Joseon. And I had a trouble zeroing out my weapon because I was newly private, first time holding a weapon in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
And I did good on my qual. And as I came back at the end of the day from the range, she's like, from now on, you're going to be Dove.
Oh, that's
You're,
great. That's a good
you're
story.
Oh.
Stuck, yeah. That's a good story. So what are you working on? What do you want to share today?
I recently I want to show you a process. I recently started working with one groove how do I go into groove of house music? How do I go about with the process is what kick do I pick? And then I record it. I have drum machines and then I loop it and use a sampler within the reason. So everything you hear is basically pre-recorded and I choose those sounds and then I create a groove with it. And as I go with the groove, I choose what melodies to create, what bass, and basically everything falls into from structure to sound design and the end product.
Yep.
And I would like to show you how I
Please.
do that.
Back, and Dove is going to share his creative process. Go ahead.
So I choose a kick and it would sound like this. And which I chose in the drum machine previously. I recorded it and dropped it as a loop through the Dr. Rex, which is a loop machine in the Reason. And then I would choose bass, of course, and it would be similar to my bass. Well, it's okay. There it is, right here. So it would sound something like this. And this is where I would start something in my head, and then I would choose a kick.
So you start with the rhythm and the groove.
Yes.
Do you do the same, Kevin? Do you start with melody or do you start with rhythm? What is it for you? Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
Okay. For me, it kind of varies. So most of the time, it starts with a melody. Yeah, for me, it's always like with a melody. Then it kind of progresses from like the instruments from there.
It's interesting, right? Everybody's got kind of their own process.
So I would create this, and then I would add a kick. And then it will follow.
Nice.
Those are the simplest things that are they just come to mind. Okay, I want this instrument in there. I want this amount of that in there. I want basically all the classic sounds that we love to
Yeah, I was
hear
gonna say that's
within.
very classic New York house sounds, right? Real instrumentation sounds, classic jazz instrument sounds. I just love it. Yeah.
I'm
Good.
And
loving the
then
bass line overall. I do like the bit.
yeah, I played it on the
Oh yeah,
guitar. I played
Yeah.
it on my bass guitar, and
sick.
I recorded it, and it came just something small and nothing too crazy, nothing too bossy or overall,
Mhm. Well,
not too overcloud.
so Dov, what's next for you? You know, what are you working on now, and then one big goal for you?
The goal is for me, I never DJ'd. I never had a privilege to learn how to DJ. That's the reason, one of the reasons when I found Nervako and on the camp, the music camp, yes. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this is the guy. Maybe this is the guy who will bring my music into the light and share it with the world. Because maybe like he even made a video of me dancing to the
Oh,
main melody of Missing NYC, even when I created the chords for it. And he's like,
Yep,
Duff,
yep.
how do you feel about that melody? How do you even dance to that? And he made a video of me. I'm just like, old school dancing towards it.
yeah.
It was fun day that day.
I'm gonna have to
And
pull it up. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
you should. And he's like, when we playing your stuff on the main stage, you're gonna have to wear the glasses that I wore that day. And I still remember that, and I still have them.
Yeah.
You want to also start DJing, Dove, and any particular like thing you want to be remembered for as a goal for you?
I want to be remembered as a producer who makes music for DJs, specifically for DJs, because there is now a lot of good music out there that, well, I'm not saying in general, there is a lot of good music in there, but not a lot of that kind of style that you could find. Just Google it and go find something old school in modern sound with
Yeah,
modern.
yeah,
So that's what I want to be remembered for. Somebody who gave the DJs a chance to collaborate with a producer and say, hey, what do you have new that nobody heard and that is old school to the new modern? And I'm going to be like, hey, I'm here for you. I got you.
I love new classic modern progressive. I love it.
Yeah,
Hey.
yes. And if
Yeah.
you don't mind, I could share with you one more um, work that I
Yeah.
finished. And right
While
now,
you're setting that up, I'm going to ask Kevin what his big goals are, and you can get yourself set up, and then we can have you share it. Kevin,
yes, of
what's your
course.
one big goal, and what do you want to be remembered for?
Yeah, we're currently working on another collaboration with a record label for one of the tracks that I've worked on. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully for October it comes through.
That's
Still in the
beautiful.
process.
Awesome.
It's with a label called Sound of Meow over in the UK, and they're
I've
more
heard of
like,
them. Yeah.
yeah, they're like progressive kind of vibe, kind of
Yeah.
feel.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. So I'm just like, okay, I gotta like, I send the track, and they're saying like, okay, make sure we get the timing right, the sections for the intro and the outro right. So I was like, okay, got it. So hopefully that comes in good. And then something to be remembered by, I would say just like with all the adversities I've been going through, I just want to be remembered. Even though things get tough, even though things get very difficult in the process and the journey, to never quit, because there's a lot of things that will definitely be on your way on your journey.
Yes.
But one thing's for sure is to never quit no matter what. And in the process of like from things not working out, financial issues, and down the road working your way up.
Yeah.
I just want to be remembered that you just got to keep going.
That's really good advice to
Yeah.
just keep going. And I do think that resonates with a lot of people, right? Everybody's got struggles. Everybody's got really, I think, hard things, different hard things, but nonetheless hard things. And having that music helps, I think, with the resilience part because you have that
A lot,
right?
a lot, a lot.
If you let it, and that's thanks for sharing that, Kevin. That's really good.
Yeah, of course.
Dov, you want to share your song?
Yes, please. So it is called Winds of Fire. I mean, Winds of Winter. And it again reminds me of New York when it's cold and you standing between the buildings somewhere on Fifth Avenue and the wind just blow and they're rough. And it's still kind of not mastered, not mixed down, but I'm looking forward in collaborating with somebody who could, like I showed this to Kevin and Kevin, like, he said that we will work on it. So I'm like, okay.
So a little sneak peek of we're not a sneak peek. What's that one word? Ah, goodness. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Yeah.
Exclusiveness.
All right.
Exclusive.
I love the piano in it. I think you both are gonna have fun working on that one.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
so
gonna
fun
be.
watching a song come together.
Mhm.
It really is.
Hey, Dove, as you were playing, I was getting chills of the winter. I'm just like coming
Oh,
over
oh
here.
yeah, especially
It's that
when
I'm
+3
excited.
city, right? Yeah.
when that bridge hits, you just want to wear that hat and
Oh yeah.
wear a scarf and just piano goes boom.
Not that way in Calabasas. We got 3 Californians here now. No
Oh
more winter.
yes,
Yeah,
oh yes.
so true.
Mhm.
I actually officially got my Californian driver's license.
Oh,
Let's
congrats.
go.
Yes, and I am a resident of California.
You sure are. Well, I really appreciate you both making time to come on the podcast, and I look forward to having you back as you both have releases and different things to talk about. Really appreciate it, your time. And for those watching, you can find their latest release on Beatport, and we'll put all of your social links for both Nervako and Dove as well in the section below for the podcast. So that's it for House Call episode 6. Thanks so much.